93% of people who read self-help books never apply a single principle from them. They read, they feel inspired, they close the book, and then nothing changes. But one book, written almost 90 years ago, has a documented track record of transforming careers, repairing broken relationships, and turning ordinary people into genuinely magnetic human beings. And the reason it works when everything else fails will completely reframe how you think about other people. In the next 10 minutes, you are going to discover the core principles behind Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. You will learn why the instincts most people rely on in social situations are almost always wrong, why criticism never works the way you think it does, and the one counterintuitive truth about human nature that Carnegie discovered long before modern psychology ever caught up. Stay with this because the insight in the deep dive section changes everything. Dale Carnegie published How to Win Friends and Influence People in 1936, during the Great Depression. The timing matters. Millions of people had lost jobs, status, and confidence. They desperately needed practical tools for rebuilding their lives through human connection. Carnegie had spent years teaching public speaking and people skills across America, and he synthesized everything he had learned into one volume. Simon & Schuster initially printed only 5,000 copies. They were gone almost immediately. The book went on to sell over 30 million copies worldwide, making it one of the best-selling books in history. Warren Buffett took Carnegie's course at age 20 and credits it as one of the most important decisions of his life. The diploma from that course is the only one he has ever hung on his wall. The foundation of everything Carnegie teaches rests on one central observation. Human beings are not creatures of logic. We are creatures of emotion. We are driven by desire, pride, ego, and the deep need to feel important. Once you truly understand that, the entire book opens up like a map. Most people approach social situations trying to be impressive. Carnegie says the entire game changes when you focus instead on making the other person feel important. The first major principle Carnegie introduces is deceptively simple. Do not criticize, condemn, or complain. This sounds obvious, but the reason behind it is profound. Criticism never produces the result you want. When you criticize someone, their immediate psychological response is defensiveness. They do not sit down and calmly evaluate your feedback. They build a wall. They justify themselves. They resent you. Carnegie cites the example of Al Capone, one of the most dangerous criminals in American history, who genuinely believed he was a misunderstood public benefactor. If a man responsible for violence and organized crime could construct a complete self-justification, imagine how quickly an average person rationalizes away your criticism. Criticism wounds pride, arouses resentment, and achieves nothing lasting. But here is what nobody talks about. The alternative is not silence or avoidance. Carnegie is not telling you to be passive. He is telling you to replace criticism with something far more powerful, which we will get to in a moment. The second foundational principle is giving honest and sincere appreciation. Not flattery. Carnegie makes this distinction very clearly. Flattery is insincere. People detect it instantly and trust you less for it. Genuine appreciation means noticing something real and valuable about the other person and telling them. William James, the great Harvard psychologist, wrote that the deepest principle in human nature is the craving to be appreciated. Not just liked. Appreciated. Recognized. Validated. Carnegie argues that most people go through their entire lives starving for this kind of genuine acknowledgement, and the person who provides it becomes immediately and magnetically attractive to others. Think about the best manager you have ever worked for. Almost. Certainly, they made you feel like your contributions actually mattered. That is not an accident, and it is not manipulation. It is the oldest and most reliable principle in human relations. The third principle is where Carnegie truly separates himself from conventional wisdom. Arouse in the other person an eager want. Stop thinking about what you want. Start thinking about what the other person wants, and find the overlap. Carnegie uses a brilliant fishing analogy. When you go fishing, you do not bait the hook with what you like to eat. You bait it with what the fish likes to eat. This is so obvious in theory and so consistently ignored in practice. Every salesperson, parent, manager, and partner who leads with their own needs instead of the other person's is making the same fundamental error every single time. Carnegie builds on this foundation with 6 specific ways to make people like you, and together they form one of the most practical frameworks for social connection ever written. The first is to become genuinely interested in other people. The word genuinely is doing enormous work in that sentence. Carnegie is not suggesting a performance. He is saying that the most socially successful people are actually curious about other human beings. Theodore Roosevelt was famous for remembering the names and personal details of virtually everyone he met, from foreign dignitaries to stable hands. That kind of attention communicates something that no amount of charm or wit can replicate. It says, "You matter to me." The second is to smile. Simple, almost embarrassing in its simplicity, and yet Carnegie backs it with the observation that actions and feelings move together. When you act happy, you begin to feel it. A genuine smile costs nothing and signals warmth, safety, and openness in a fraction of a second. The third might be Carnegie's most quoted insight. Remember that a person's name is, to that person, the sweetest and most important sound in any language. Names are the shorthand of identity. Using someone's name correctly and naturally creates an immediate bond. Forgetting it creates an immediate distance. This is not a trick. It is an acknowledgement of personhood. The fourth is to be a good listener and encourage others to talk about themselves. Here is a striking data point from modern research that Carnegie anticipated by decades. Studies show that talking about yourself activates the same neural reward circuits as food and money. People are neurologically rewarded for self-disclosure. The person who listens deeply, who asks follow-up questions, who leans in with genuine curiosity, is literally giving someone else a neurochemical reward. No wonder they find you fascinating. The fifth is to talk in terms of the other person's interests. If you know someone is passionate about their garden, their children, their business, or their favorite sports team, lead with that. Carnegie studied Theodore Roosevelt extensively and noted that before any meeting, Roosevelt would research whatever topic most interested his visitor. That preparation was an act of respect, and people felt it immediately. The sixth is to make the other person feel important, and do it sincerely. This loops back to the beginning. The whole architecture of Carnegie's social philosophy is built on this truth. Everyone wants to feel significant. The people who help others feel that way become indispensable. Now for the deep insight that most summaries gloss over. Carnegie's principles are not manipulation tactics. This distinction is critical. Manipulation is about getting what you want regardless of the other person's interests. Carnegie's entire framework requires that you actually care. You have to be genuinely interested. You have to offer sincere appreciation. You have to actually listen. The principles only work if they are real. What Carnegie is really teaching is a fundamental shift in orientation, from self-focused to other-focused. And the remarkable thing is that this shift, which sounds like it asks you to give something up, actually results in you getting more of everything you want. More respect, more cooperation, more trust, more influence. In the real world, these principles have measurable consequences. Carnegie Institute research has consistently found that approximately 85% of financial success is due to human engineering, meaning personality, communication, and relationship skills. Only 15% is due to technical knowledge. We spend almost all of our education on the 15%. Carnegie spent his life on the 85%. The leaders who apply these principles create teams that outperform. The salespeople who genuinely care about their clients outsell those who are just running scripts. Before you go, if you learned something valuable today, hit that like button right now. Subscribe to Book Notes Daily for a brand new video every single day. We will see you in the next one.